Hi, how y'all doing?
Good.
Hello,
I put
hello.
my glasses on and taking them off because I can't see either way. I need
Yeah.
See,
a
I'm not feeling this whole glasses thing.
I mean, I don't feel glasses either, but Lord, you need them. Lord, I'm telling you, especially driving at night. Boy, I'm telling you, I'd be like,
Well,
Yeah,
I don't
contacts is coming soon in my future.
listen.
Contacts.
What I
Yes.
can't get used to is the smudges and the fingerprint. Like,
Yeah.
how
oh, I
do I even touch
know.
it? How do you smudge? I got to keep cleaning them, and then I got the distance versus the progressive, and the
Yeah.
progressive make me feel like Herman Munster, and then
Herman Munster.
I can't see up close in the distance. I can only see far away. So fix
Mhm.
the Jesus.
It ain't fun at all.
Well, that's how
Not at
mine
all.
says. I only can see far because when they did the lens in my left eye, they didn't want to make it like a bifocal, and that makes me have to wear glasses because I can't see close. So I'm looking at things like this all day. Lord have mercy,
Listen, and that computer all day.
all day. And
But it's coming
I was hesitant to
one day.
get contacts because that
I
just
can't
I
put it
don't
in my.
know. They didn't work out before
Mm-mm.
when I used to wear them. It looked like I was high all the time. My eyes were
No.
red. It was just irritation all the time. But
No,
how
stomach
have y'all
complaint.
been doing?
Doing well.
Is this new
Doing
year
well.
treating you good already? No.
So far, so
Well, a year older
Well,
already.
oh
And
no,
happy
it's
just
belated
had a birthday.
yeah,
birthday.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, that's
Okay.
right. Happy
That's
birthday.
always a blessing. That's always
Yes, it
a blessing.
is. It
That's
is.
always a
Very
blessing.
much so.
There's a whole lot of stuff going on though, just to be, entering this new year and this new phase. It's a lot of things going on, but I ain't gonna belabor it. I have a question, and I think that this is a question that is becoming really dominant now because there's so much things going on just with women's health and the courts deciding a lot of different things going on, and it's just a lot of things going on. So I wanted to bring this to the porch because I think one of you guys put this out here, but it's really so relevant right now when we think about our daughters and our sons, and the conversation we have because we have young adults, and they have families too. So the question I have is sexual responsibility. Is that a woman or a man responsibility? Which one is the person that should be responsible for sexual responsibility? And don't y'all look like y'all confused because y'all know what y'all had to do growing up.
It is an us responsibility.
Yes.
There is
Yeah.
no man or a woman. It is an us issue because us is affected, good or bad. We are affected. So the responsibility falls on both of us. And if we don't teach our daughters that this is their responsibility because it is their body, we can't say on one end, it's your body, your choice, and then you not have any responsibility when it's your body and your choice. But gentlemen have to have to protect themselves in the same way. So it's an us thing. It's not a them or an us. I mean, a them or a we. It's an us.
So my
Wow.
question is, I'm gonna just be the admin. I want somebody else to answer my question, okay? We say we teach our daughters, okay, the responsibilities that they need to care for their bodies and care for the responsibility of their bodies. But what happens if you're in a relationship and and I'm not talking about marriage, I'm talking about a girlfriend boyfriend relationship, and you think you're taking care of yourself, but you end up pregnant, and the father don't want to be a part of it. Now he's taking his responsibility out of it. You see what I'm saying?
I think he
What
hasn't
happens
taken
then?
well, because I think in that scenario, he hasn't taken his responsibility out of it. Again, we say one thing to get what we want. That's all of us. And then another when it comes time to dealing with the consequences. And so I think that that's something that any of us, regardless of age, need to think about when we lay down with a person. For a woman, if you look at it as I could get pregnant from this encounter, Point blank period. It's a possibility. If you're in childbearing years, that's a possibility. What are you going to do? You have to think about that first. It doesn't happen. You know, we're all human, we're of the flesh, right? So it doesn't always happen. But if you think about it in that aspect, you might not sleep with that other person.
I'm old enough to have 2 points of view. So when I was growing up, I'm the only girl, I'm the only child. And so I was trained and I was raised, that was my responsibility. Your body, your responsibility. Don't rely on nobody else to be responsible. You're going to be one stuck. We're going to be one stuck raising this baby. You're going to be stuck with, you can get anything. You're open. You can get all kinds of. So, but then I had a son. And so now I'm teaching my son, don't you trust nobody with your life. You take care of yourself, so now I saw both sides. Not that I didn't see it before. I wasn't interested in the other side. I just knew I had to protect me.
Right.
So yes, I think it's us. I think it's both of them responsibility, but we lean a little bit more on the ladies, on the girls.
You sure do.
Because they're the housing most of the issues, most of the
consequences of the.
Yeah, because even when we get an infection or something, that's major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consequences all on us.
Consequences.
I hate to blame the women, but guys, we have to protect ourselves.
And it's more than that. Now it's more than just the man and the woman in the situation. It's now the government in the situation. So and if you want to, I mean, really, if you really have to really weigh the cost when you do something and make sure that you take all precaution, because if you find yourself in a situation that you are pregnant, now you no longer have that option of deciding I don't want to have it. So it behooves you to take all precautions beforehand so you don't have that. If you're in a relationship and it happens, and then you said he takes himself out of it, he really isn't. In a way, he might not share the responsibility, or don't want to pay, or whatever the situation may be, but it's still affecting both of you. And not only that, catching different things, all kinds of diseases and everything. So it is a conversation that is very serious.
Must be had.
It must be had. It must be really thought out. So more than that few minutes of pleasure, you need to think about all the consequences for it.
My
You
mother
better go
used to
look up your
always
state
say,
laws. I can tell you that right now, because I think that's outweighing everything. Because I was looking at that special the other night, and I was so it's even not even the part of, okay, now I may be in a responsibility that I really didn't choose to do, but you may be in a life-threatening situation now. You know what I mean? Because if you don't have any options, and I didn't hear anybody talking about their husbands, their spouses, or whatever, or their boyfriend, when situations was coming down to things that could be life-threatening if you ended up pregnant or something else. And now, because these laws have changed, and it is not it's not freely open to you being able to make a decision that you may think you need to do or will benefit your life. When I think about when I was growing up, I was asking the question in reverse, because like you saw it, my mom was the same way. You know what I mean? You get pregnant, girl, let me tell you. Well, she was like, you can bring the baby here all I want, but I ain't getting up in the middle of the night. There's gonna be you. And she just put this vision in my head that I'm gonna have that poor baby on my back in the backpack, and I'm gonna be trucking down the street with a baby bag, and I ain't gonna have no good shoes on my feet no more, because that's how hungry I'm gonna be. And it wasn't a pretty vision. I'm gonna tell you that. It wasn't a pretty vision.
Worked.
Right.
It worked.
well,
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty vision.
Some of us make a decision that's not always, popular. My mother said to us, and she had one daughter, raising one daughter. If my daughter comes home pregnant, me and my husband have a problem. Then we have to figure it out. But if my sons get someone pregnant, that girl and her family has a problem that they need to figure out. Now, it may not be PC, it may not seem fair, but that is the truth of the matter in which we were talking. But she also said there are a lot more things out there, and this is even before AIDS really became prominent, but
having a
especially
baby.
during AIDS. My mom said there are a lot of things worse than getting pregnant.
Yes.
Sure is.
You can bring
is.
something that's a lot worse than a baby. So that wasn't always her fear, right? That
Exactly.
I would get pregnant or that my brothers would get someone pregnant. But she's there's a lot of other things out there that you can bring back other than a baby, and it ain't good.
Mhm.
Well,
And
what about the issue like in our parents' generation? You bring the shotgun and I bring the shells, and that's how we settle
Oh,
the
yeah.
situation. You
Yeah.
get married. You have to get married. Do you
Yes.
think that will work for this society today, the young people today?
a lot of people were born because of that.
No. They may bring a shotgun. That's what they may do. Okay.
And a lot of people were affected because of that. There were so many unhappy people.
Yes.
Like that was just a lot.
And I'm not even
That's a
going to
lot.
teach that to my kids, even though my kids are at the age where they can procreate, you know, that's all fine and good. I want to be a grandparent, you know what I mean? I really do. But I would never tell them that, you know, because again, I think we put more earnest on our daughters because we sit there because we kind of have more, you know, even when your kids get married, don't you got your daughter is you got more influence in that than your sons, you know what I mean? Because my mom used to tell me that when the boy get married, they're gonna branch off to that family, you know what I mean? But you know, you'll still have your participation. But I think we put more earnest in our daughters in teaching them that, you know, it's really the responsibility of them to care for their body. And I know the conversation I had with my son, you know what I mean, is totally because my son is just we just have these conversations and it's so in depth. Sometimes I'd be like, Jose, I don't want to talk about this. Okay. I don't really want to know about these kind of things, you know, help me out there, you know, just do what you got to do. Do what I taught you to do. Okay. I believe you. I trust you. No, but I don't want to hear it.
They used to have a thing in, I think it was an article I read in Ebony many years ago that says, we are raising our daughters and spoiling our sons. And so I'll never forget that article, and it always stuck with me. So I made sure that when I had children, that I was doing certain things, you know, equally to an extent in how I was raising them, even with them being different ages and having different personalities and things of that nature. This is your responsibility. My son was 19 years old when he had his first child. He was just finishing his first year in college and, you know, all of that. And so what happened was 11 months later, he turned around and had another one. Now, were we expecting that? Was I looked, no. And then he had said to me at one time, you know, I'm going to have to quit school so I can get a full-time job. And my response was, you will not. You now have a two-piece. You have to finish your education so that you can provide for your family. And so was it the worst thing in the world that happened to him? No. And he's been raising those girls ever since as a single dad. And things have changed for him, you know, now that, you know, he's with Stephanie and everything, but things changed eventually. But this is your responsibility. So then when people were filling his head and, oh my God, you're doing so well. And I was giving him credit where credit was due, but please don't get it twisted. Women have been doing this for centuries on their own. So I don't want you to get so heady about what it is that you're doing because you're supposed to do it. So if the mother can't, you're supposed to. That's it. So let's not treat you like you're doing something above and beyond. You're doing what you're supposed to do. But again, it wasn't the worst thing in the world because had he not had him, who knows what would have happened? He could have got into some trouble somewhere along the way, you know, following with this crowd. But because he had them to focus on, then he was able to head and keep going in that right direction. So you just never know.
You don't know.
So we're all in agreement that it's a us decision, okay? Boys, girls alike, you know what I mean? And there's no compromising about that because at the end of the day, you know, we want our children to be safe, you know what I mean? Because like Keisha says, worst things you can come home with than little Bobby coming. But you know, it's diseases, it's all kind of complications that's out here that can take your life.
And keep them to do the right thing. No matter what, just do the right thing. Sometimes it don't feel good, but it's right.
You know, I'm not going to say that, because I think we raise children to do the right thing. You know what I mean? We raise them to do the right thing, but I think when it comes down to outside influences, once you turn to a certain age, even when they're teenagers, you know what I mean, you almost have limited, you know, control over that. So the question I'm going to ask you guys, okay, and we're going to close this out. What is one thing you would have done different? Because all of our kids is around the same age. One thing you would have did different with your children in the aspects of knowing sexual responsibility. Just one thing you would have did different with them. Celeste.
I think I spooked my kids so much that they're never going to have kids ever again in life.
Mm.
They say, "Oh my God, it's so much responsibility, and it's so selfless, and it's so." I wouldn't do that again. I wouldn't make it seem like it was like you said, the worst thing ever if it happened.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't have shared so much of what I was responsible for. Does that make sense? Because they look at me like, "You superwoman. We would have never did that, girl. You went without shoes. Oh no!" Like you sacrificed all night, didn't sleep. Oh no! So they're spooked at this point.
That's a good
They've
one.
made a decision. They don't want any. I don't want to give up
Chauncey?
my life.
I'm not sure. Truthfully, I'm not sure if I would have done anything differently. Just because, you know, you kind of deal with it when it comes to you, right? But yeah, I tried to be as honest as I possibly could. That's the only thing I could offer them, was honesty. And the
Okay.
honesty that I offered them was that it feels good for a few minutes, but there are consequences to it.
I hope
And so
it's longer than a few minutes. All right, Keisha.
Um, I'm like Chauncey. I don't know. I guess maybe telling them in a different way. I know. Well, I can share this story. I know. With my daughter, as you know, getting birth control pills and all of that, and so her dad was like, "Well, you doing this?" I said, "Well, what is if she's sexually active? Then why would it's better for her to be protected than not." So my thing was I didn't get all upset about it and all of this stuff, because I was a young woman too, and I would rather for her to be responsible than not.
right.
With my son, he had children early. I think he was 19 or 20 years old. Maybe reaction to it may have been better, but like you said, you never know what kind of blessing or whatnot. So it you just never know. So maybe having a different reaction to it, maybe that would be what I would say, what I would change as far as he's concerned. Yeah.
I think that what with my kids, I was not I didn't like give them the same conversation that my parents did, because I know I didn't like how my parents kind of made me afraid, and kind of like, if you do this, you rather go run out and get hit by a train than come back home, like this, I didn't have that conversation with my kids. But what I would do is I would take a little bit more time out to listen to what they had to say of what was going on, because I think I missed that whole point. You see what I'm saying? Because I was so busy trying to enforce but not enforce. You know what I mean? If y'all understand what I'm saying, force but not enforce.
Yeah, I do.
But I need to listen to see what was out in the playground going on, because I did not do that, and that was huge. You know what I mean? Because at this point in life, kids, let's keep it real. Our kids was dealing with homosexuality, transgender, all kinds of things you don't know nothing about, because that's not what it was going on in our day, but it was kind of hush hush about it. You know what I mean? And with the perspective of why this was going on, sexual freedom. I'm gonna be honest, sexual freedom, like girls being more sexually forward. And that wasn't in our times like that, you know what I mean? That it was okay to have multiple partners, and because I'm that girl and I'm tough, that none of that was going on. but you
Mm,
miss all of
mm,
that unless you're talking to your girlfriends or something like that, and something happened with their kid. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I
Right.
think that because no, guess what? Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect, especially
Nope.
when you learn the lessons when you see your kids go through something, and everybody
Yeah, you do.
go through something. You know what I mean? So that's my spill. I would do that different. Maybe I'll do that with my grandkids, and then my kids would be pissed with me. You know what I mean? And be like, "Ma, you didn't do that to me." But I
I
spend a lot
know,
of
because you
time.
learn.
Yeah, you learn. I spend a
Yeah.
lot of times with my kids now talking about things that I wish I could have corrected. And I come in a different way to them. I talk about
Mm-hmm.
just how my life experiences made me make the decisions with you.
mm.
You know what I mean? So it's just
Exactly.
I'm not coddling you, but I just want you to have understanding, just like I have understanding with you going through your ups and downs of life. You see what I'm saying?
And I have teenage grandchildren, so I can say, Kimmy, that I do just that. What I do is if they come to me, I let them know that I am here and it's a safe space.
Mhm.
I listen, I share, I give my opinion when I'm talking to them, and then I go to their parents without giving away everything that they told me because I want to break their confidence, but I do let their parents know that I had a conversation with them. And that is their parent opportunity to say, I would prefer for you not to discuss that with them. I'd rather do it, blah, 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 blah. And so that didn't happen. He was okay with it. And I had that conversation with my granddaughters. So I agree with you there. You
Mm-hmm.
can better when it comes to your grandchildren. I just happen to have grandchildren that are of that age, and
Me
so
too.
I'm getting there.
I
So
don't have no grandkids, and I'm gonna just tell you, when I get them, I'm not asking my kids nothing. Look, let me tell y'all something.
Now ask them nothing.
This is
no,
the
wait,
deep
Kim,
though. It's like
Kim,
I'm
you
playing.
just said
I'm playing. I'm playing.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I'm
gotta
playing.
listen, but I admire that, Chauncey, because I am not doing that piece. My son will come to me and go, I know you talked to him. What he say? I was like, that's between the two of us.
no, and I don't give out. I
But
just
I'm not even gonna talk about it. I tell him,
okay,
you talk to your dad. But yeah, I get all the juice, honey.
yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh, God.
you gotta persuade them that they need to be having this conversation.
Yeah, I gotta
You
get
know what
better
I
with
mean?
that, Chauncey. I
Yeah.
gotta get better.
Great
Yeah,
episode, ladies. Great episode, guys. This was I said I went from ladies to guys. Please forgive me. Ain't no guy on here. Great episode, y'all. So, any final thoughts, really quick?
Nope.
No,
My final thought would be,
it's a us responsibility. That's my final word.
my final word is, as a parent, create a safe space to talk.
That's huge. That's huge. All right, ladies. So join us tonight is
Your girl Celeste.
I'm Chauncey.
And I'm Keisha.
no phrase word. I'm your girl Kimmy. So join us next Wednesday when we drop a new episode. You can always check us out on our social media page. Have a great week on purpose, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Take care.